さて。
What is going on, guys? I've been asked for this many times, and you know what? I figured it's about damn time we do it. We are doing a guide on how to play Beerus. I'm going to be splitting this guide up into 3 parts. This part right here, part 1, it's for the most part just going to be the basics of Beerus and basically what is he, his normals, his specials, everything about the character that you will need to know. Part 2 is going to be probably the longest one. It's going to be the one involving his orbs. In terms of mix-up, block strings, Oki, neutral, everything you need to know about how to use Beerus orbs properly. And part 3 is going to be his game plan, as well as combos that you might need to know to play this character. So to start with all that, though, what is Beerus? So Beerus is a cat, a purple cat to be fair. He's a god of destruction. He really likes food. Not a big fan of wasabi. Might have accidentally blown up a few planets doing that. Okay, in all seriousness. So Beerus is a set play character with a very strong mix-up tools, as well as decent zoning tools against characters that don't have anything to deal with it. When it comes to Beerus' normals, thankfully they have all been buffed at one point in this game's history. But as of right now, Beerus has the relatively standard 6 frame 5L, has the ability to hold back and do it twice for 4LL. 7 frame 2L, somewhat stubby, but decent buttons nevertheless. 11 frame 5M, nothing really too special about it. It's pretty high though, so pretty decent for confirms. But then that's basically all the OK buttons on the ground, because everything else is just really good. His 2M goes basically full screen, and the hitbox on it is not great. Basically where Beerus is hitting the floor, that's about the hitbox, so not the most ideal. But what is good about it though is the fact that his 2M goes through key blasts, beams, and assists. So not only is it full screen, it can basically go through everything, to the point where even if they're firing a bunch of key blasts at you, you're able to reflect, and then go through if they continue to fire at them. And since Beerus' orbs are key blast property, people love to throw key blasts at them. So you just 2M right through it and just smooth sailing. Besides that, that's not the only button he has that's immune to basically everything. His 5H also ignores both key blasts, beams, as well as assists, and has a very large hitbox to it, both in the air and across the ground, making it a very good button. His 2H, probably below average. It goes backwards, but doesn't hit backwards. I don't know, it's kind of weird, but for the most part, it's an average button. His JL, downwards hitbox, pretty good as a jumping button. JM is furthest reaching air button, and the one that everyone now knows, my apologies, is his JH. For the most part, pretty unassuming at first glance, but thanks to a couple of patches ago, it now has a backwards hitbox. So it becomes one of Beerus' best mix-up tools in terms of being able to just hit him with a cross-up. So Beerus has some pretty good normals, but the specials are where he really shines, or makes you really not happy to play him. Really all depends on how used to it you are. So Beerus' Key Blast will start. 5S, only able to fire 1. Not very good, it's okay. Jumping Key Blast can throw either 2 or 4. It's okay. It's got a lot of recovery though, so typically only used in combos. But those are the only bad ones. Now we get to the bulk of everything that makes up Beerus. Well, first we'll do his core circle back options. Core circle back light is a short dive. Medium is a slower, further reaching dive. The light dive causes a ground bounce, but no knockdown. The medium causes a ground bounce as well as a knockdown. And then the real good one is his EX1. When in the air, it's nothing really all that special. Has a higher reaching ground bounce, allowing you to dash forward and confirm for a rejump. But the grounded one is practically full screen and it tracks, which is really, really good. And now the bulk of his specials that everyone knows him for, his orbs. So 2S is a sneeze. Yes, he sneezes out an orb. No, I don't know why either. Minus 37, so relatively slow, but you have the ability to cancel into either 5H or 2H relatively quickly off of it, which is really good, especially since a lot of people really like the Super Dash. His 236 series is where a lot of his orbs come from. 236L is a low kick. Medium, he jumps in the air for a high kick. And then his EX version has 3 different options. You have the low kick, which is on block his primary stagger tool. If you want to steal your turn, being +6. Neutral, which is basically medium kick, +2 on block. Typically not used all that often. And then the up kick is where Beerus gets all of his mix from. Both his 236M and his 236H up are typically where you see Beerus going for a lot of his mix. And the one thing you can do with the 236 series is you can hold them. So 236L is -33, so a little faster than the sneeze, but you don't have the luxury of canceling it, making both of them decent options towards setting up his orbs. 236M, same thing, but it goes up in the air, and 236H, same thing as well, but you get 2 orbs. And then the last special to talk about is the one I'm probably more known for, and that is 236S. What does that do? It summons 6 orbs. Now, typically, Beerus can only have 3 orbs on screen at the same time. You can sneeze your way to 3, but it doesn't matter how often you do it, or which button you end up doing. You can always only have 3 orbs on screen at the same time, and these orbs don't stick around for the entire time. They either explode upon impact against an enemy on the ground, or they will eventually just disappear. But we do 236S, you summon 6. But the second you start summoning more orbs, though, you start getting rid of them if they don't get away from. And the one other one I did mention, 214S, is his DP. Fully invincible, much like all others. You can't call an assist when you do it. You're very minus upon whiff or upon activation of doing it. But it's a DP. It's pretty solid. He's got basically guard point at the center, as well as he hits a bunch of key blasts, where if the key blasts hit them at all, he can then go for advantage to try and either confirm it, or if you're in Spar, try to save your own skin, basically. So pretty good. So really good specials, pretty good normals. All around making Beerus pretty good, if I do say so myself. Now let's talk about his supers. He technically has 4, even though it only looks like he has 2. He has 2 different level 1s and 2 different level 3s, and both level 1s have the ability to be cancelled into a level 2. So his level 1, his light and medium version, is this giant orb that he flings forward, and if you do heavy and special, he flings the orb again, but he flings it diagonally downwards. And when you're and for his level 2, the way you do that is while it's hitting them, you can press light, and you blow it up for extra damage, as well as a decent amount of hit stun. Now, because it's the only level 2 in the game that you have to manually input, there is the risk of missing out on damage. If you activate it too early, you'll do less damage than if you activate it closer to the end. Now, Beerus' orb hits 16 times, so to do the level 2 most optimally, you want to hit the level 2 at 15 hits. Although, because that's not really feasible, and it's very difficult to do, at the risk of if you do it too late, it's just going to explode, I recommend aiming a little lower than that, looking at 13, 14 hits. That is probably the more ideal timing for doing Beerus level 2. And then his 2 level 3s are his grab. Light and medium grabs right in front of him, and heavy and special, thanks to this most recent patch, now teleports behind them. And the crazy part about this level 3, besides the fact that it does an absurd amount of damage, 5k not scaled, and 2k fully scaled, one of the highest damaging level 3s in the entire game, is that even if you miss it, you're minus 20. It is very hard to punish, and due to the fact you can now teleport behind them, is a very good escape tool just for using 3 bars. Why do they do this? I don't know, but since we got it, we are going to use it. Thanks to the change of the C assist having reduced cooldown, Beerus actually has 3 pretty viable assists. His A assist is when he summons out 2 orbs and then he kicks them. Pretty good assist, has 50 frames of block stun, the only downside being that since it is a Ki Blast startup with the orbs, they can be reflected. Despite that though, you are still plus a lot, so it is still really good, and you have the added benefit of if they try to jump at you, you have the ability to call the orbs, and since they bounce off the wall, they can come back and not only interrupt them and possibly hit them, it can also allow you to just straight up steal your turn, even if they end up blocking them. His B assist is the same as his 214, his dive. It's got 34 frames of block stun, so it's a pretty solid assist in terms of block stun. It ground bounces, so making it pretty easy to confirm for combos, and has the added benefit, unlike the A assist, of not having a gap to where it could be reflected. The only downside being it is a little slow at 30 frames of startup, and he does spawn in front. However, it does track pretty far though, making it a really solid assist. And then his C assist is just straight up his DP. And if any of those Ki Blast hits, then you will be able to confirm, or that he will confirm his C assist. And it tracks in the air, which is also really good as well. Beerus as a character, I feel like needs to come in with meter. He does well with assists, going for mix-up. He also does pretty well playing by himself as well. So because of those 2 things, and the fact that he does have a really good assist, especially in his A assist, I do think that Beerus fits best as a mid character, but can also work well as an anchor. Beerus does have the luxury, he could fit any role, but since I do believe Beerus is at his strongest when he has meter to back him up, I would say mid or anchor would be the go-to roles for him. We'll go into some more character-specific game plans for Beerus in part 3, but for now, we'll just give you the basic idea of Beerus. So Beerus' whole gimmick with his orbs is that he can kick them. Kick them, flick them, hit them with a Ki Blast, do whatever you want, and the orbs will basically go in the direction you hit them. So Beerus' typical game plan is to summon orbs either by find time for a 2-3-6S, using a sneeze, jumping back and doing orbs, and using those to create pressure along the screen. Each of these orbs do count as a single Ki Blast though in terms of properties, so you do have to be wary of characters that either have anti-Ki Blast property moves, characters with beams, or just characters with multiple Ki Blasts. We'll go over later what you can do against those specific situations, but that is basically the general idea of Beerus when it comes to his neutral. And you want to use the ability to send these orbs flying at the enemy in order to look for your way in, to then go for his general game plan, which is mix with orbs. Beerus has the ability to go for highs, lows, left, rights with his kicks, and go in and mix. So that is generally Beerus' game plan. When in neutral, you want to use your orbs to try and control the screen as best as you can, as well as you want to look, while you're doing that, look for your way in through a dive, through summoning orbs and super dashing, through a 2M full screen, or just following behind some kind of assist. And you want to go in and you want to mix them, and that is how Beerus tries to control the game and do things the way he wants to do as the God of Destruction. And that is it for part 1, so thank you guys for watching, I appreciate it. Make sure to look out for part 2, where we talk about Beerus' orbs as well as his block strings. Link for that when it goes up will be down below in the description. So until then, hope you guys have a good rest of your day. Until next time, I will talk to you guys later. Bye guys.